Welcome to Mineral Talks Live, the monthly live mineral webinar that brings you in-depth and in-person interviews with mineral people from around the world. Mineral Talks Live is brought to you by a joint effort among the Mineralogical and Geological Museum at Harvard University, the SMMP, and BlueCap Productions. Tune in on the first Wednesday of every month and stay connected to your mineral world. Now, broadcasting live from beautiful Honolulu, Hawaii, the land of aloha, ukuleles, and shakas, this is Mineral Talks Live. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas and happy holidays to all of you watching. We'd like to thank you for tuning into this extra show in December. We wanted to do one more show before the end of the year, and we're thrilled that we could make this our 2022 holiday show. For those of you tuning in for the first time, Mineral Talks Live is a monthly mineral talk show where we sit down with people from all facets of the mineral world to learn more about what they do and who they are. Our guests include some of the best curators, collectors, dealers, miners, researchers, artists, and media people in the mineral world. I'm Santa. Sorry. I'm Brian Swoboda from BlueCap Productions, and together with my jolly and cheerful partners, Dr. Raquel Alonso Perez from the Mineralogical and Geological Museum at Harvard University, and Dr. Eloise Gaillou from the Society of Mineral Museum Professionals, also known as the SMMP, we'd like to welcome you to our show. If you want to see a complete list of all our past guests and links to those interviews, please visit the URL at the bottom of the screen, and don't forget to click the subscribe button. Otherwise, tune in on the first Wednesday of every month and stay up to date on what's going on in the mineral world. Now, one of the things that makes this program so unique is that this isn't just a conversation between me and our guests. All of you are part of the show when you participate through the chat or the Q&A feature, both of which are located at the bottom of your Zoom window. The chat feature allows you to type messages to everyone watching the live show. If you have thoughts, comments, or questions about what we're discussing, this chat area is where you can post them and interact with each other while we're talking. Usually our guests and I aren't able to read those comments, but Raquel and Eloise will be very active in the chat area and may even interject a question or comment to us during the interview. Also, this is a fun place to say hi to everyone watching the live show, and you can share where you're tuning in from so that we can see what parts of the world we're reaching. As for any general questions you may have for our guests, those questions can be typed in the Q&A section, and we'll get to the questions at the end of the show. Finally, towards the end of the program, you'll see a window pop up on your screen. This is our quick fire 5 questions, where we get to see how well you know our guests. This is kind of our version of the silly reindeer game, so come on, play along. Now, on to today's show. All of us appreciate the beauty of a great mineral specimen. Oftentimes, when we talk to people outside the mineral collecting world, we use the term nature's art to describe specimens of great aesthetic quality. So I've always been fascinated when someone takes a piece of nature's art and uses it as an inspiration to make human-based art. Today's guest is one of those people. Her artwork has been seen all over the internet. She's been featured in recent articles in Lapis magazine, La Reine Mineral, and even Rocks and Minerals magazine, a few of the great mineral magazines of our time. She's been the guest on a few different online interviews, and she's had one exhibit at the Denver show and 2 exhibits now at the Munich show, the first one in 2021 and the second one this year, where I got a chance to do a short live interview with her. We're thrilled to have her here live on today's show. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ukrainian mineral artist Ksenia Levterova. Ksenia, how are you doing?
Thank you.
Ksenia, sorry about butchering your last name.
Yeah, Levterova, yeah.
Well, now, Ksenia, this is kind of interesting because you and I have a special bond. Your last name, Levterova, is basically a Slavic version of a Greek word meaning what?
It means freedom.
That's right. And my last name, Svoboda, is also a Slavic word meaning freedom. So we basically have the same last name.
So we are very freedom people.
Absolutely. Freedom fighters. Here we go. And I want to mention something at the start right here, just to kind of set the record straight. We're all aware of the tragedy that's happening in Ukraine right now. And while your home is in Kyiv, because of the war, you're now relocated yourself and your two sons to Munich, Germany, which is where you're broadcasting from right now, correct?
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, terrific. All right. So now, on this show, I always love to turn back the clock a little bit. And so my first question for you is, your career as a mineral artist really kind of started with you becoming an artist first and then later discovering minerals. Why don't you kind of tell our guest a little bit about how you discovered that art was your calling and what training you did as an artist?
Actually, my love for painting has been with me since my childhood. And in my school, I had a very amazing person. It was my art teacher. And I spent a lot of time in her classrooms after the school. And we use and tried different styles. We make fantastic projects. And I think that it's part of my art career. It was very important for me because I learned a lot about it. But I never think about it that it can be my profession, that it can be my job. I don't know why. Maybe for this reason that at that time it was 19th years, and it was a very hard time for all post-Soviet countries. And you know, that person who had artistic profession, they had a really hard time. Maybe I haven't any examples. And after I finished my math classes at my school, I have the best result in my school, so I decided to went to economical university. And yeah.
Wow, we'll talk about complete opposite of art.
Yeah, and after 5 years, I had a master degree, Master of Economics, with highest grades. But I understand that it was a very big mistake in my life that I spent 5 years for economic, because actually I think that it's too much boring for me. So after that, really, I can say truth now because I understand it. And after that, I decided to finding myself in art. I tried different waves. I learned interior design. I studied 2 years in iconic school. I visited a lot of workshops of famous artists in Ukraine. I tried to learn oil paintings, but all the time I return to my watercolor and understand that it's my passion and I need to progress in this way. So I start to make paintings, and I can say, but mostly I'm a self-taught artist.
Fantastic. Now, early on, was there a artist or a few different artists that may have inspired you? And if so, why did they inspire you?
It's like with a book. I have actually a lot of favorite artists that work in different styles and in different eras. But I liked realistic style with a lot of details, such as you know, that group of artists that's so-called Little Dutch, and like Jan Vermeer or Bruegel or William Calsheda, that makes a perfect still lifes with a lot of details. So I was inspired by them. And if we speak about artists who make mineralogical paintings, of course, I fell in love for the first pictures with Klaus Kaspari paintings. It's amazing. I think it's the best of all. And of course, Eberhard Eckert paintings.
Yes.
And I think that for me, it's like a big challenge to try to reach the same level like these famous artists.
Absolutely. No, I was good friends with Eberhard, and what a loss to the mineral
Really?
world when he passed. Yeah, I spent 2 weeks with him traveling around Germany and Thuringia. As you know, I was just learning about him, and just wonderful man. So you really have your sights set high, but I think you're getting there.
I tried to be best.
Oh, you're doing great. Now, Ksenia, as a working artist, you were eventually introduced into the mineral world. Tell us about that time, who introduced you, and what you saw in minerals that really kind of inspired you to have that major focus in your work.
Yeah, I'm very grateful to my husband, Vadim, for my acquaintance with this mineralogical world, because his passion, his hobby from his childhood. He collecting minerals, and he just sometimes he just asked me, maybe you try to paint a mineral from our collection.
Sure.
And I say, yeah, maybe. And it was my first step in this way. So he is a very brightest. I think that he is brightest fan of my art, and he every time support me, and every time try to help. So it was like that. And the next step, when I was so inspired, when first time I visited Munich show in 2016, and when I saw the top level specimens, I actually was shocked by beauty and variety. And I met a lot of interesting people in mineralogical community. I met, for example, Maria Hosing.
Yes.
She's a very important person for me, because it was the first who looked to my painting. And she told me that, oh, it's so nice, and you need to paint more and more. And he gave me this energy that I believe in myself, that I can do it. So after that, I decided to go to this way and to be like a science illustration.
I love it. So it was actually your husband, who was already a mineral collector since he was a child, that kind of first introduced you to the mineral world. Was he so he's Ukrainian, correct?
Yeah, he's Ukrainian.
Okay. So he was already collecting for years when you guys met and got married, and eventually he's like, honey, what about painting some of these, huh?
No, you know that he really collected minerals from 4 years, because the first specimen was very special for him, because his grandpa gives him this, and today it's very important, because the first specimen was from Mariupol. Because his grandpa worked there, and he presented for him his first one, and after that he decided to make his own collection. So
I absolutely love it. There's the power of mentorship at work for you. Grandfather introduced your husband to mineral collecting. He fell in love with it. That got you into painting minerals, and now we all get to enjoy your fabulous work. That's terrific. Now, Ksenia, you work mainly in watercolor. I think most mineral artists out there do that. I think I only know of one, Wendell Wilson, who occasionally has done things in like oil paints. But for you, I'd love to know why watercolors work versus some of the other mediums.
You know, for me, watercolors is very delicate and transparent, but in the same way, they are like graphics and I feel it. I know how it will behave. I understand these colors. So I haven't so close a relationship with another type of painting. So for me, it's one of the best. I feel
Right.
it.
Now, is there a specimen or like a mineral species that you'd love to have a chance to paint, but you haven't been able to do so yet?
Yeah, I have some ambitious goal, and my dream now. I want to paint one by one scale this king of Kashmir.
No, you need quite a big canvas for that.
I think it will be a very great project to paint it one by one, and it's amazing, you know.
Well, then we're going to have to get you a visa and fly you out to Houston so that you can actually do that.
Yeah, I tried. Maybe next Tucson after the next Tucson.
Absolutely, why not? And while you're there, we'll have you do the rabbit ears as well. Hey, so you had mentioned 1-to-1. Do you like Eberhard Eckwit? All of his work was always 1-to-1, exactly 1-to-1. Is that the same with your work? Do you always do 1-to-1, or does it change depending on what you're doing?
It depends. When it's a commission, I ask about it in collector. If he or she want to make it one by one, I can do it, of course. But sometimes I think that it's a very nice idea to make it like 2-by-1 or 3-by-1. You can see all details. If the specimen is not so big, like a cabinet size or maybe even thumbnails, you can't see all details. And when I make it more bigger in my painting, you can see all sides, all details, and you can understand it more, I think.
Now, is that a different process when you're painting something 1-to-1 versus when you're painting it 2-to-1?
For me, actually, it doesn't matter.
There's no difference.
Yeah, it's not
interesting.
Different.
So then, how long does it take you to paint a specimen? And I mean, what is your process? How do you prepare for a painting project?
It actually depends from the specimen, but it takes me from 5 days till even 1 month for one painting. And of course, I'm preparing for this. When I try to learn to know more about this specimen, the best helper, of course, is me, Dad. I open it and try to learn and try to see more picture of specimen from this locality. And of course, I visited the museums to try to learn how it looks. Or speaks with my husband's friend, the geologist or mineralogist. So I tried to learn it before, and after that, I painted.
Interesting. Now, it sounds like you can do paintings from photographs. I know that, sorry to bring it up again, but I'm going to go back to Eberhard. Eberhard always painted in front of the actual mineral. He could not paint anything unless he had it in front of him and he can look all around it. And I know you've done both. What are the kind of the difficulties of one versus the other?
Actually, the best way when you have in your hand this specimen, because you can see it in different types of lights. You can see it in daylight, and you can make another type like cold or hot light. But I think that in our days we have so high quality cameras and very professional photographers that makes a very good pictures of specimen. So if person who order make order or make commission tell me, okay, I think that in these pictures my specimens look like real colors, and I want to have a picture like this. For me, it's okay. And I just ask them, is it okay for you? Is the color the same? Or you need to make another type of picture and send me in daylights, in studio lights. So I try to learn to understand, to make it more realistic, more natural.
Okay. So now, when you're painting a specimen, what quality of specimen or what characteristic of the specimen is the hardest to properly reproduce? Is it the color? What is it?
You know that I think that all artistic person they take inspiration unexpectedly, but of course I like picturesque composition, colors, and of course surface structures. But because it's look like geometric perfection in these surface structures, and it's inspired me.
Okay, all right. And so, does that make it the most difficult part to paint, or they're all kind of equally difficult for you?
I'm sorry, what is the most difficult?
Well, I mean, you're saying you like kind of the surface fractures, the surface details. Is that the hardest part of the specimen for you to paint, or is it like transparency or luster or any of those other characteristics that's the most difficult to reproduce?
Yeah, I think that the transparency is more difficult. Yeah. And if you have a specimen, if I have a specimen in my hand, I need to fix the light in the same position and without any change. So for this way, it's better, and I can do the same every day. But if the light changed, you need to understand that the color can change and the shadow can change. So it's really difficult.
Okay. So now, for people who want to commission you, what is the best way that they can provide you with a reference photograph to help you do your job?
Okay. Every time I asked about the high resolution photo of specimen, yeah, of course, it's very cool if it was made by fine mineral photography or someone.
It's Laszlo Kupi.
Yeah, by Laszlo, it may be someone who makes the same level professional pictures is the one of the best way. But I asked if they haven't something like this. I asked just to make a picture by phone in a daylight.
Okay.
When it's not a very shiny day, when maybe it's more cloudy day, and you need just to make from different sides. They make the pictures even by their phone, and for me it's okay. And some videos, that I need to understand all sides.
Gotcha. Okay, so the best is a photograph of the specimen outdoors on a cloudy day, so you have the nice diffuse light and you don't have the really hard contrast from direct sunlight. And then a photograph, maybe a few different angles, and then a video so that you can see all around it. So you basically have the best.
All this on white background.
On a white background. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. So now people know. Okay, so do this, if you excuse the term, paint a picture for me. Okay. Describe to me in as much detail as possible what it's like in your studio when you're painting. Is there music playing in the background? Do you have food cooking? Do you hum to yourself? Do you sing heavy metal lyrics? What's happening in your studio?
Now my best studio waiting me in my flat in Kyiv, but now I try to make my working place in a new flat here in Munich.
Right.
And the best way for me to make a painting is nighttime. Actually, at nighttime when I am alone and I can sit for the first, it's like a silent place, but my hobby is reading. So I use every moment when I'm painting to listening audiobooks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's not music, it's audiobooks that you're listening to.
For the first step, it's audiobooks and some podcasts. I am listening about art history. I like it, and I'm interested in it. So it's the first step. And when I'm, I think near the 12 or 1 a.m., I started to listen house music because I was a dancer.
Oh my God.
It's true. It's favorite.
You need that beating bass to get you going, to keep you awake.
Yeah, it's true. Funk and house music, it's my favorite, and I try to listen it, and it makes me more energetic when I.
You said punk and house music are your favorite musics.
Funk.
Oh, funk! I thought you said punk. I was like, oh my God, you're putting on the red wig and just going crazy. Those are the paintings we don't see.
Just funk and house, because I was a dancer and it was a big part of my life. From 4 to 22 years, I danced.
What kind of dance? Was it classical, like ballet, or was it?
No.
Modern dance?
No, it wasn't like it more like club dance and break dance and funk dance.
Oh my God!
So yeah, it's
right.
modern.
Ksenia, get up and show us your signature move.
I think it will be part 2 of our meetings. It's close.
I want to see Ksenia going like, oh yeah.
Another side of Ksenia.
I told you, this is going to let people know you in a totally different way. Oh, I love it. Ksenia, fantastic.
I'll make like a mix, to painting with a dancing all together, like and put it in TikTok. Yeah?
Forget TikTok. I've got a better idea. Next Munich show, we'll have house music blasting, and you'll be there painting, dancing, and we'll auction off that painting to somebody.
Okay, nice idea. I will speak about it with Mr. Christoph Kellman, so maybe.
He will totally 100% be on board with that. Oh, I love it. Ksenia, let's take a look at some of your kind of recent work. I've got some photographs here. Mm-hmm. The first one I'm going to bring up here is, let's see, this is your earliest piece. Tell us about this.
Yeah, it was the first my mineralogical painting. This specimen is from from our collection, from our thumbnail collection, and I just decided that it's clear. I understand all the crystals shapes, so I take it for the first. And now it was sold, and now it's all together. Picture and specimen is in hand of Mr. Christoph Kellman.
Okay, so Christoph has this one. What year was this painted? Do you have an approximation?
Can you please translate?
When did you paint this? What year?
It was the first year I visited the Munich show. It was 2016.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This next one I'm going to bring up is what you call your most difficult piece of mineral art.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah,
remember
this.
this guy. Yeah, it's gold nuggets. It's very heavy. If you know, it's 23 kilograms. It's from Australia, and you know that this nugget didn't have clearly definite crystals, and it looked like a molten surface, of a meteorite. For this way, it was very difficult to understand how it will be. For me, it's easy, of course, to display clear geometric shape.
I got you. Okay. So kind of some of these rounded areas were really kind of the most difficult because you have both rounded areas and kind of the sharp definitions when you go into kind of some of the holes there. I mean, much different than this. Where,
of course.
I mean, this one you have a lot of transparency, but very geometric, as you said.
And it was made one by one for the show. Yeah.
And then I've got a second picture of it here.
Yeah, it was a process. And I have another reason why it was very difficult for me, because it was a time when we, with my boys, changed the place. So we drive from Athens to the Germany, and I painted it even in hotels at night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, was this a commissioned piece? Was this a commissioned piece?
No, this picture is still with the specimen in museum.
Oh, okay. All right. And let me ask you this. I know when Eberhard would paint like metallic minerals, he would actually use paint that had either gold or copper, or he'd use a silver pencil. What special technique, if any, did you use in order to properly reproduce the sheen of the gold here?
Now in modern art shops, you actually can find watercolors with brights, with shine.
Okay, so it has some kind of metallic sheen in it.
But I don't use it, because when you have a normal classical gold nuggets in your hand, you never see these special small brights. So I just use a normal color like yellow or ochre or brown, and I try to mix it in different proportion to make it like gold. So I think it's really difficult, but what can you say?
No, I'm fascinated by it.
It's look true or not?
No, it looks fantastic to me. I mean, I literally thought that you were using some kind of special paint, because it looks like it's more than just like a yellow.
I don't. I tried to use it before, but I understand it's not very nice. I think.
And I love this. I'm noticing this now. If you look on the right side of the specimen there, you see that kind of sort of river type pattern that's coming down from the top. That is the part that is not does not have any detail yet. And in the first shot,
it's like the first layer, and I just make it to understand where it will be, what types of colors, lights or shadow, and after that I detailize it.
And that, to me, that's fascinating, because here you can see very clearly, you kind of in the bottom left-hand side of that area, you have almost like a specular highlight. So it's very bright, almost white. You see it go up into the yellow. Then you see it go up into kind of a light orange, darker orange, and brown specks. So as you say, this is the base layer, but then we'll go back to the finished piece, and it totally disappears there. And you've added the detail there, and it's just absolutely amazing to me.
It's like
Fantastic
a
job.
watercolor magic, I can tell.
It is true. Just spectacular. Spectacular. Okay, so I'm going to move to the next one. You are working on a couple pieces, and this is one piece that's currently you're currently working on.
Yeah, now and even this night I will finish it. I think I just have one small crystals that I need to finish, and maybe tomorrow I will post a picture with finished amethyst. And for me, it's very nice that I have this specimen in my hand and I can see all details. So it's interesting.
Now, at the very bottom of the painting, we see what looks like a pencil sketch. Is it pencil? Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, the first step, it's a pencil. I just make portraits, yeah, and after this, I begin work with watercolors.
And so, how many hours have you put in it to get to this point?
This takes me, I think, 4 or 5 days.
4 or 5 days to get it to this point. My goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Well, superb. And you think you're going to have that finished tonight?
No, this picture was made in this morning.
Oh,
and
okay.
Now I have all this day for progress in it, and I think that this night it will be finished.
Well, I mean, that's one thing that I'll share with the viewers. I thought was kind of funny. Yesterday, you and I were communicating with each other, and for me over here, it was like already 11 a.m., which was like 10 p.m. your time. And I was like, Ksenia, what the heck are you still doing awake? Go to bed. But you said, no, those wee hours are the best time for you to focus on your work. So pump that house music and get that piece finished. We'd love to see the end of it.
Music, yeah.
Jingle bells.
Yeah, something like this.
Okay, this is another piece that you are currently working on. Tell us about this. My goodness.
Oh, it's amazing. And I want to finish it even before the Munich show started this year, but I haven't enough time to finish it. This is a specimen from Anton Watz's collection. And I think that it's one of the best aquamarine specimens. But this small crystals takes me a lot of time because I try to make it more realistic. And actually, for today, I think I spent about 3 weeks to make it to this step.
My goodness. And, you know, as you were saying earlier, transparency is one of the hardest characteristics of a mineral for you to paint. And I know this isn't finished, but already we can start seeing the level of detail as your eye tracks further into the specimen there. Absolutely wonderful. Okay. Now, you have some pieces that are on black, you have some pieces that are on white.
Mm-hmm.
What goes into the decision that you make on whether it's going to be painted on a white or black background?
Actually, I prefer to make on a black one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but I think that it's every specimen looks more contrast in this black background. But
absolutely, black makes a very dynamic background.
Yeah. But if you want to make something like this, you need to have or to have a specimen in hand, or you need to make a very high quality picture, because it's difficult to make nice lights plus a black background. For this reason, if person who commissioned if they haven't a very high quality photo in a dark background, I just try to make it on white.
Wonderful. So this is, I have to say, King of Kashmir. She's coming for you, and this is kind of a preview of what it's going to look like.
Yeah, it's look like it. First, I'm just trying to make.
It sounds like Raquel has a comment or question here. What's going on, Raquel?
I'm dying here to learn. Ksenia, when do you start painting? Where do you start? From one side, from the top? I'm really curious. Where do you start the process?
Actually, it depends of my mood, really. I haven't any special program. I just feel it. I try to make all first lines, and then I try to detailize it, and I just focus on some tasty pieces, and I just give me like ask you, maybe this night I will make this part. And I'm painting in the then I change to another part. So it depends. I haven't any special waves. It's like my mood decision.
True artist, you feel it.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
Fantastic. Okay, Ksenia, this next image that we're going to bring up is a painting that means the most to you. So that's a very that's a very powerful statement. Tell us why this means so much to you and kind of some of the emotions behind it.
Yeah, for the first, everyone knows Ukraine like very beautiful topazes and beryls. But this one, it's means a lot of me because it's the last picture that I started in Kyiv, and I didn't finish it. And I finished it after the war in Athens. When I was in Greece, in Athens, I finished it, and it mixed all together. My feelings about my country, and this specimen is from my country, and I every time thinking about my husband when I finished it. So I think that I put a lot of my feelings in these paintings. And this specimen is from my friend's collection. For Ukrainian collectors. He brought it to the Munich show, and everyone can see all together the paintings and the specimen. So it's really, and even if you can see, it looks like a heart.
Yes, totally.
It's true. So
absolutely.
It's my mineralogical Ukrainian heart.
I love it. I love it. And for the viewers, Ksenia's husband is still in Ukraine, so it's a very it's a very powerful message that she's sending here, and it's absolutely a beautiful piece, stunning. Now, Ksenia, I always love to hear stories about specimens that people love, but you personally don't like too much. And this next image is one that is an absolutely fantastic painting, but you don't like it that much. So tell us about this painting as I bring it up on the screen.
Yeah, it's a very fun story, but for me it was a very stressful story. Maybe someone knows that I have a cat, and his name is Douglas. And when I made this black background, the first step, when I paint a picture with black background, the first step is background. And after that, I painting crystal. So I made a perfect black background. And when I don't know why, I just leave it in my table, and cat made decision to drink some water from my glasses for painting. And he just stepped on the painting and messed up the black background. And it was a surprise for me. I had to fix it. It was really hard to make the new lie, but I did it. And even the last Munich show, it was sold. But every time when I look now in this photo, or in picture in my post, or in my cards, I just see this cat's leg on my background.
Oh, that is hilarious.
Because I'm a perfectionist and I want to make all in 100%.
I hear you. I think you did a wonderful job, but it was almost a catastrophe, correct?
Yeah. So every time now I try to protect it, to close all my papers, but we will see.
Okay, I'm going to ask Raquel to fire off the poll because we're at that time. Ksenia, I don't want you to worry about it. We've got plenty of time. So just if that window popped up, go ahead, close the window, and we're going to go to your next painting here. Okay, this is a piece of art that took you the most amount of time to paint. So tell us about this piece and why it took you so long.
Oh, yeah. And maybe not everyone knows that I painted not only specimens, I painted all about minings, all about mineralogical and geological work. So it was equipment and field kit and gloves. And it takes me about 1 month to paint it because that I said before, I'm a perfectionist. So I decided to make these gloves like a hyper-realistic style. And yeah, it takes me a lot because I try to paint each stitch of the gloves like in a realistic style.
And that's the actual glove in the upper left-hand corner, correct?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought it in the nearest shop. Yeah, and it takes it about months. And you know that it was the first painting that I sold in Munich show.
Oh.
Yeah. And the Daniel Chinchilla bought it. And I was like a crazy girl in that day. I was so happy.
I love it. So this is now owned by Danny Trinchillo from Fine Minerals International.
Yeah.
I hope we get to see that in Tucson, but he probably has it in his home. Superb work. Absolutely superb. All right. This next one is a very, very, very special specimen. It's got a great story behind it. And this is one that you painted for someone very special in your life. Tell us about this.
Yeah, I painted for my husband, and actually it's a very personal story, but I think that it's very fun and I can share it. One of our favorite movies, it's Interstellar by Christopher Nolan, and maybe you watched it.
Oh, it's a great movie. Absolutely.
And there is a robot that named TARS. So we name it like TARS.
Right.
And we decided for some reason that this human writing quartz reminded us of him, of this robot. So we began to call it like TARS. And when I made a decision for a birthday present, I decided to paint it for him because it's something special. And this one is from our collection too. So it was funny.
Absolutely wonderful. I love that. And in this, you can see the actual specimen in the top half of the screen and the work in progress right there. A lot of very subtle purple in the painting, and that becomes more apparent when you see the napkin at the bottom with all the purple in it. But the final piece looks like that, and it's absolutely stupendous.
Yeah, and I think that I can make this line even when I am sleeping, because I did it so many lines. I can just wake up and make very nice, perfect lines.
And how did the biggest fan of your artwork respond when he received this painting?
Oh, he was surprised a lot and very touched about this. He really, and sometimes we even have a problem when I need to sell my paintings, and he just told me, "Oh no, just leave it at our home, please." It's so nice. I want to see it every day to watch this.
Well, then he's a true collector.
I understand him.
That is excellent. Okay, this next piece is a piece from your collection, and it's a Heliodor from what was formerly called Volodarsk. Mm-hmm. And it's about this piece and the story behind it, because it's a wonderful unification story.
Yeah, it's like a story about traveling of this specimen and about traveling of this picture. I had it in our collection, and I can painted it. After this, we made decision to sell this specimen, and the paintings was take part in exhibition of Natural History Museum of Ukraine, and this specimen was sold, and I just have a painting. I exhibited it in last Munich show, and I have a lot of compliments about this painting, but it wasn't sell, and it was in my hand. And even I can take it with me when we went to Greece. And only in this May, I had a call from collectors from Japan, Yoshiki Uchida, if you know him. And he wrote me that he bought this barrel, and he want to buy paintings too, to have it in one hand. For me, it was it looks very interesting and amazing that this piece, this specimen from my hand now is in Japan, and my picture traveling from Kyiv to Athens and then to Tokyo. So it's look amazing, and now they live in one home, in one hand, and for me, I think it's very nice when it all together.
I love it. I love it. Fantastic painting. Great story behind it. That is terrific. Ksenia, we are coming to the top of the hour, so I know that everybody would love to see more paintings of yours, and they can. Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody how they can find you on Instagram or on Facebook as well?
Yeah. I have like the same name. It's Ksenia.mineralart. It's my name in Instagram. And in Facebook, you can find Ksenia Levterova by this name.
That's right. Okay. And she has a lot of her work posted on there. And I'm sure everyone's going to enjoy it. So, Ksenia, we're now at the part of the show where we're going to the quick fire 5 questions. And I think you understand how this works. I have 5 questions I'm going to ask you. There are 2 answers to each question. Your job is to respond and tell me which of the 2 answers resonates most strongly with you. The viewing audience has already answered, and so they're trying to predict how you're going to answer. And at the end, we're going to see how well people know Ksenia. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Question number 1. Favorite movie robot, HAL or TARS?
So it's my answer now, yeah?
Your answer, correct.
Okay, my answer, TARS.
TARS, of course. Okay. Favorite city square, and excuse me because this is hard for me to pronounce. Maidan Nezlezhnosti or Freedom Square in Kharkiv?
Oh, of course, Freedom Square in Kharkiv. It's my native city. Yeah.
These, I didn't say these were going to be easy questions. Okay. Pet preference, dog or cat?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Both of it. If I say dog, my Douglas won't speak with me. So I
Over
think
Douglas's ear.
I need to say cat. Yeah.
Okay, so the answer is cat. You know, that's what I thought that you would say, but after we were talking this morning, I was like, oh, maybe she's going to go for dog.
No.
Okay.
Cat.
Favorite music composer, Tchaikovsky or Lysenko?
Of course, Lysenko, yeah.
Good answer. And favorite recreational activity, paragliding or motorbiking?
Oh. Of course, paragliding, because I did it twice and I want more.
There you go. Well, you got to hang out with Eloise. She is a avid skydiver, so not quite paragliding, but just as scary if you ask me. All right. Raquel, are you going to be doing the answers to the Quickfire 5, or is it going to be Eloise today?
It's me today.
Okay, fantastic. Question number 1, favorite movie robot? We had HAL or TARS. Ksenia went with TARS. What did our viewers say?
I think people were not really paying attention. Maybe they went with HAL.
Oh.
You know, to be fair, we launched the poll before we got to that photograph. So I'm going to say, even though that they got it wrong, I can't blame anybody because most people wouldn't know what TARS was. Favorite city square, Maidan Nezlezhnosti or Freedom Square in Kharkiv? Ksenia went with Kharkiv. What did the viewers say?
They agree with her. They know her.
Oh, nice. Good job. Pet preference, dog or cat? After much soul searching, Ksenia went with the cat. What did the viewers say?
Cat.
Cat as well.
Oh,
nice. Favorite composer? Favorite composer? We had Tchaikovsky or Lysenko. Ksenia predictably went with Lysenko. What did our viewers say?
Likewise.
Wow, that's really good. And favorite recreational activity, paragliding or motorbiking? Ksenia went with paragliding. What did our viewers say?
I think because we heard all the music taste and whatnot. People were with motorbiking.
Okay, fair enough.
Maybe it will be the next step in my hobby.
That'll be the next.
It's very nice roads and B&B museum. So
Totally, I can see you jamming house music, motorbiking to the area where you go paragliding. It'll all work out perfectly. All right. Ksenia, we are at the question and answer moment right now. So, Raquel, go ahead and ask Ksenia any questions that our viewers might have.
Sounds good. Sorry, I got distracted. I was so much on the interview. I didn't check these questions, but let me see. I know, I loved it. It was so interesting. I'm going to start with the last one. Claudia Watson, how do you create the black background that looks so perfect? Your paintings are wonderful.
Oh, okay. I know that it will be because, every time when I speak with someone who makes same paintings in different style, everyone asks me about these black backgrounds. And this is my small secret. I use only watercolors. It's true. It's not gouache or it's not acrylic paint. I make it, I take not a lot of water. I mixed it and then I make it, I think, very, very fast. I try to close all of surface of the paper in a very short time, because if you know that with an aquarelle drawing, you can't change nothing and it will be better result. So I just made, I just take not a lot of water and make it very fast by a big brush.
Thank you. By the way, there were so many comments throughout the chat about your amazing paintings. Just we can share the chat with you.
Yeah, Ksenia, we'll send you a copy of the chat transcript. And you'll see everybody is just so blown away by your work, really.
Okay, I'll read all.
It's nice to see.
Hello, you were around. Let me know if you want to go ahead.
No, please, you're doing it perfectly, Raquel. You have a control.
You're now by the tree. We changed spot. I like that. So, Ksenia, by Vera Junkers, do you use a texture paper surface, often used for watercolors, or a smooth surface paper? What kind of paper you use? Texture?
What kind of paper I use? I use a special paper for watercolor, and if it's two types of watercolor papers, it's like cold press and hot press. And I use every time hot press because it's very clear without any special watercolors like X texture. So I use hot press and it's more easy to paint small details on this type of paper.
And by Matthew, he said that the watercolor is holy, but have you tried digital art? Also, have you tried painting macro pictures? For example, if there is an isolated crystal, it's easier, but also general full frame landscapes. I guess these three questions. So let me start with the first one. So the first one would be, have you tried digital art?
Oh, about digital art? Actually, I'm dreaming about it, but for me, I like to touch what I do. It's like handmade, and I feel it. When I painted something in my iPad or in computer, I can't feel it. And for me, it's very important. So maybe I'll try to make something in digital art. Maybe even I try to make some NFT token by my watercolor painting because I had some ideas about it. But only after I make a watercolor.
So the next one would be, have you tried painting macro pictures? For example, if there is an isolated vista, it's easier by general full frame landscapes. Not sure I understand the question. I guess it's, I don't know, any of you, Elo or Brian? I don't know exactly what he means. But the third question would be, what is the largest painting you can do on paper size?
The largest painting? Actually, I can make a painting 9 by 2 meters because I can board this type of paper.
Wow.
So you're only limited by the paper.
Yeah, it's true. And you can make for a paper for a wall, but it will be a watercolor paper. I have it now in this German art shop magazine. Its size is 9 by 2 meters. So wow. if I need, I can board it and make picture on this size.
See, again, she's all prepared for the King of Kashmir.
Yeah, it's true.
And then I think you might have answered that at the beginning, but is it better to work from professional photos or from the actual specimen? And which do you do more of?
For me, it's easy to make paint with the specimen, of course. Because sometimes photographer when they make some after shooting works, they use some program and they can change the brightness and they can make it more bright, and the color will change and it's not looks like a true color. So for me, when I have it in my hand, it's the best way because I can make it like true science illustration.
And which one do you get more often? Both?
More often. Last year the painting by photo was the most, but in this year I make a lot of from specimen in my hand. So it's changed.
One more question, and it's more of a curiosity question. Someone wanted to, they appraise your work, it's wonderful, and he wants to know if you have ever seen paintings by Sue Robinson. Sue Robinson?
Susan Robinson, you know her.
Yeah, of course I know Susan Robinson. We speak by letter when they make an article about my paintings. I think it was Susan Robinson and Marie Husing that was in touch with you for the article in Rocks and Minerals, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I have to say when I saw your first work at Munich show 2 years ago, I saw the Ammonite. You painted that gorgeous Ammonite. And then we have one on display and I make an Instagram video with it. And I haven't met you personally, but then you thanked me for doing the video. So I have known you for years, but I didn't know who you were and I didn't know. So yeah, it was nice. And then we got a gold specimen from our collection painting by you, and we have another painting. So we need to keep growing that collection.
Yeah. No, I mean, Ksenia and I, we've been talking for a couple of years now, trying to work out a time where she could come on the show. And I had never met her in person, but we had communicated multiple times. And then this year when I was in Munich, I was hanging out with Laszlo, and he said, "Oh, I've got to go over and talk with Ksenia." And I'm like, Ksenia's here. Let me come with you. I've never met her in person. And so Laszlo took me over there, and I met Ksenia for the first time, and then we did that live interview that we broadcasted from the Munich show. So
But for me, I really was shocked when I saw you, because you for me, it's like from a movie, because it's true, because I just see all of your programs, and I think that you're a very famous person. And when I saw you, it was shocked that I speak with you, and that you are so kind person, and thank you for this program too.
Oh, well, thank you, really. Thank you so much for being on the show. We're thrilled to have had you. Raquel, do we have any more questions from the audience?
I believe we are good. We're done.
We're good. All right.
Yep.
Well, Ksenia, thank you again so much for being on the show. Fantastic show. I love that it's the holiday show and that you could be here with us today.
Thank you, and I wish for everyone to appreciate that you have, and to appreciate all moments that you spent with your family, because you never know what will be next day. So I wish you to have a happy Christmas and peace around you and all your family.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ksenia. And before we end today's show, there's one final message I'd like to make. As many of us know, on February 24th, 2022, Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, exacerbating the situation that started back in 2014. At the time, today's guest, Ksenia, was living with her family in Kyiv, and as you can imagine, her stress level went through the roof. Due to the anxiety and the stress that she was feeling, her hands started shaking uncontrollably, and she found that the painting that all of you have just been looking at, her prime method of expressing what she's feeling inside of her soul, it became impossible for her to do. And her inner articulation was completely cut off. However, an email from an Austrian collector made a huge difference. He offered her help via a safe place to stay in Siena if she needed it. He also commissioned her to do a painting of an emerald in his collection, which became sort of like a meditation for her. And not long afterward, Ksenia started receiving emails from many other people in the mineralogical community asking about her well-being, giving her words of support and offers of help. People like Marie Husing from Rocks and Minerals, Stefan Weiss from Lapis, Christoph Keilman from Munich Show, and many, many more. In Hawaiian, we say "Malamam kekahi I kekahi," which means to take care of one another. So, in the spirit of Ksenia, and with a heart filled with aloha, this holiday season, all of us here at Mineral Talks Live, we'd like to encourage everyone watching to reach out to the people in your world and give them a message of love. We seldom know what our friends, family, and loved ones are truly going through inside of themselves, and sometimes it's this random act of kindness that makes all the difference. So we're wishing all of you a Mele Kalikimaka, a joyous holiday, and a happy new year. Mahalo for tuning in. We'll see you next year. Aloha.